just give it a few minutes for people to transition across from their last meeting over to this one. So thanks for joining, it's much appreciated. If you've been to one of these sessions before, then thank you for returning. If it's one of your first sessions, then welcome to one of Icotec's webinars. This week you're stuck with me, and we're talking about delivering projects in Microsoft 365. So we'll give it a few minutes for people to move across from the previous meetings. Just out of interest, one of the things I would ask is that just to understand and help me position, I guess, the content as appropriately as possible, could you do me a favor and just in the meeting chat, could you just type in there maybe some of the project portfolio management solutions that you're using now? So if you're using Project or any SAP product or anything like that, just to give me a flavor as to who's using what at the moment, that would be much appreciated. But also as well, if you can just put some narrative as to what you're most interested in finding out more of on this session, just to make sure that I understand, or I can help, I guess, ask any questions or position the content as best as I can for the audience. So just to recap, if you can just put what tools you're using, so Office, SharePoint, and occasionally Microsoft Project, that's great. So yeah, just to cover, I guess, in the meeting chat, what tools you use now for project portfolio management, and then what you kind of, I guess, hoping to find out more about from today's session. That would be much appreciated. Thank you for everybody who's put that in there so far. So cool. So what I'm going to do then is just go through this. This session is recorded, and yeah, we can go through that. Cool. So here we go. So the agenda today then. So we'll do an overview of the Microsoft 365 project management solutions. Now there's a number of different tools you can use in the Microsoft ecosystem for project management. I'll do a bit of my own opinion on the pros and cons of those. It's just my opinion with my background and my experience in this sector. And then there's a cost really hard and investment required for each service, but I'll just talk you through recently, I guess I'll talk you through my experience of the cost, the license costs that are in there. And then we'll do a little bit of a demonstration as well of IcoPlan and the PPM tool that's using one of those 365 technologies. So just to show you it in action more so. Thank you to everybody who's put that in the meeting chat. I can see here that the majority of people are using kind of 365 or want to know how to use 365, which is great. And yeah, so there's planner usage, Miro, that's a great tool. I like Miro. I think that's the kind of wallboarding and kind of interactive tool, if I understand that correctly. I'll do a bit of Googling on that later. QMS systems, cool. But SharePoint, Microsoft Office, Excel, Teams, pretty standard really. So great stuff. Thank you for that. Really much appreciated. So yeah, let's just jump straight in. So just a bit of introduction of Icotec before we start really. So Icotec are a gold partner specializing in project portfolio management solutions. So we're a PPM gold partner from Microsoft. So we have to be accredited in specifically in delivering project portfolio management solutions using the Microsoft technology stack. So, and we've got our gold status for that. Most of the solutions now we build are in the Power Platform. So it's a low code, no code technology that we're able to quickly build and configure specific project portfolio management solutions for our customers, right? So everything we do is on the Power Platform. I guess the way in which we approach engagements is we are experts, see ourselves as experts, and we have experts in our team in project portfolio management. So we're actually practitioners in project portfolio management, not just delivering you technology. So we use a consultative approach to make sure the tools we build are embedded and used and adopted by the teams in which we would like them to be used by. We're not just technologists. But yeah, we specialize in delivering project portfolio management solutions using the Power Platform, Project for the Web, and Power BI. We do cover all the other kind of technologies that we're talking about here, Teams, SharePoint, Microsoft 365 more broadly, Azure, those type of things, Power Automate, blah, 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 blah. But we use all those components to build enterprise-wide project portfolio management solutions. All right. I'm really proud to say that we've got some of the kind of the best clients, I think, across the UK, particularly in the public sector. So BEIS, IPO, DEFRA, ONS, Oxford County Council, ACAS, all use a solution for project portfolio management built by Icotec and the team here at Icotec, which is really great. So yeah, really proud to be working with some of those organizations across public sector here in the UK. So when Icotec started many years ago, when I guess I dreamed it, I had a vision for Icotec, I was thinking, what is the problem? What is the challenge across project portfolio management that I'd like to solve by creating or starting Icotec, right? So when I was a PMO or project support officer for Dualcoming Welsh Water many years ago, I was using Excel, shock horror. I was using Excel to manage the portfolio of projects because I didn't know any better. I didn't know how to keep track of all the activity, and even now, a number of years later, whilst working for Lloyd's, Babcock as well, keeping track of all activity is really important for me across the portfolio of change. Even if it's the smaller projects, not just the major projects. Normally, major projects get great investment, and the project manager might have a Microsoft project plan created. But how do you keep track of every level of change across the organization was always a challenge. How do we keep the project artifacts in one location or in one system? God knows I've seen many customers that approach Icotec that are using Excel spreadsheets. I've seen some impressive Excel spreadsheets with many risks, many issues, lessons, but they're kind of, I guess, the challenge that I saw in my experience and doing it was sharing and collaborating, assigning risks and issues and tracking the actions related to risks and so on and so forth. Not necessarily in one system, but in Companies House, actually, in my latest kind of consulting role, before Icotec really kind of kicked off, we were managing 55 projects and we had 55 spreadsheets. So just getting a view to the CEO and the board of all the risks across the portfolio was a bloody nightmare, because it was 55 Excel spreadsheets you had to go through and pick the top 10 risks and try and bring them together. I think my if statements and my sums were getting pretty cool at that point. So yeah, that was a real challenge, trying to bring all those things together. But more importantly, what do you do with them once, if they're in a spreadsheet, just in a SharePoint folder, and nobody's ever going to see them? You're copying and pasting them out into a PowerPoint document, sharing them to a bunch of kind of stakeholders that are consuming that information. Okay, where do they go to go and update the narrative on that risk? Where do they go to go and update the action associated to that risk to mitigate that risk? It's really hard to go and manage all those artifacts, right? Prioritization is a key theme and a key problem for me, I guess, in my opinion, across project portfolio management. How do you decide what projects to do next? Some of these tools are better than others, but it's the way you can use, I think, the Power Platform to put your strategic drivers into the system and then start prioritizing your projects. So the system is telling you, okay, actually, in order to meet your strategic objective as a business, as an organization, as a team, you need to do this project next, and this project has the biggest ROI. I've got a very simple kind of presentation or demonstration of that later on. Don't get excited. It's simple, but it's the start of a 10 that allows you to go and develop that in the future. And some of our customers, like Betty's and Taylor's, will use all their strategic actions and objectives, and there's like 48 of them across BTG at the moment, are all in the Project Online kind of project management system, and every project is tagged to each of those strategic actions or approaches, I think they call them, and then given a numerical score. The more strategic objectives you meet, the higher the score of the project is, and therefore even the requests that come in are assessed against that in a formulaic way, and therefore it tells them what projects they should do next, what brand to invest in, what office to open, or what factory to reconfigure, etc., based on how it aligns to their strategic objectives. Tasks. So even down to the level of project schedules. So project schedules having 100 lines in them, project managers going crazy when even in just kind of adding all his tasks in, as you'd expect a proficient project manager to be doing. Actually is a standalone document that is useless, because you've got to go into that document, then that Microsoft Project desktop file, to see the tasks that you're being assigned to, and then if you're assigned to 15 different projects, hell, that's a nightmare, isn't it? Trying to go into each of those different project plans and update the projects, and it's a nightmare. You could get quite clever with Excel, a SharePoint task list. I've seen that try to be done before. It's just a pain. So having it all in one central system is, I think, a massive benefit to efficiencies and task management, and I'll definitely show you that in part of the demo later on. So Another problem for me was reporting. I remember when I was 20 years old doing a PowerPoint presentation, presenting to a senior executive kind of committee in Duke and Welsh Water, and I'm copying all my risks from my kind of spreadsheets, and I'm pasting them into a PowerPoint document, and I think I was PDFing the document and coloring the boxes in red, amber, and green. And the amount of error, human error, just you could check it once, you could check it twice. You still go up and present it to the portfolio board, then you'd get one of the rags wrong, one of the logical kind of things would be wrong, or you'd kind of miss-enter the risks into the system. And most importantly, the data was probably 2 weeks old by the time you're presenting it. So you're presenting it to a portfolio board where you have to submit the pack maybe a week before, and you're doing your highlight report the week before that. So 2 weeks after you created the report, you're actually presenting out-of-date information. And I think that's a real challenge. And actually, one of my biggest moments of kind of testing this technology and testing the way, I guess, the benefit of building enterprise portfolio management solutions using the Microsoft 365 technology stack in a better way, was that the CEO of Companies House walked past me once and said, "You've got a red risk on the infrastructure project over there," and she was looking at it last night, the night before, on Power BI, and I was like, do I, as a portfolio manager, do I? Oh God! And lo and behold, the project manager turned one of the risks red. And that individual had gone in to look at the portfolio report in on an evening, just on their iPad, trying to work out, just trying to see the kind of performance of the portfolio, and the infrastructure project had turned red as a result of that PM turning that risk red. So it was live information. You're able to react to that information and that data, and then reporting it using Power BI, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, and I guess governance and life cycles. Again, harping back to when my first job in projects was project support officer in Dual Company Welsh Water, as I said, I'm sitting there with an Excel spreadsheet, and my Excel spreadsheet is my gate checklist, and I'm saying to the program manager, who's got 20 years more experience in this stuff than me, and I'm saying to him, "Nick, have you done your business case?" "Yes, Joel, I've done my business case." "Nick, have you done your comms plan?" "Yes, Joel, I've done my comms plan." Have you assessed your risks? Have you done your finances, agreed to capex and the opex budget? "Yes, Joel, I've done that." "Right, okay, well, Nick, you could go from discovery to alpha, or planning into design." And he's like, "Right, thank you." But I guess the point is, for me, it was having an automatic or standardized way of checking or controlling what stages the project is at across the life cycle. And I think for me, that is really important. For the right PPM solution should enable you to apply governance sensibly and appropriately. All right. And then just more broadly, it's really difficult delivering projects. It's really, really difficult. You're collaborating with many different parts of the organization, often in different locations using different resources. So it's just hard to deliver projects and programs and portfolios of change successfully, in my opinion. So Icotec helps address some of these things using technology, and obviously some of them using kind of good process and consultancy services. But yeah, I guess we help to deliver project portfolio management solutions that help solve some of those problems. And the solutions I'll talk to you through today can help in some way address some of those issues and many more. So Microsoft 365, the next slide is simply my view on the products you could use to manage a program or project using 365. All right, so I put it on here for you to digest whilst I'll waffle through it. But on the left-hand side is pretty much the most simple solution you could use is Excel. A lot of organizations use Excel still for project management, and I think it has a place where there's a simple standalone project with some tasks. You're tracking your to-do items, you're listing your tasks, and you're creating your columns. It's quite easy if you're delivering one project. Arguably you could deliver multiple projects, but we had a customer approach us the other day. We were doing a bit of a show and tell, and it was one project per schedule, one Excel document per project, and then starting to link them up. You can do a little bit of that kind of portfolio management, linking them up together. But as that customer found, quickly, if you start to try and do resource management in it, you can end up breaking it, and you find yourself managing the Excel spreadsheet more than managing the project, which is never where you want to be as a project manager or program manager. So the next one in this list for me is To-Do. To-Do is quite good at, I think, tracking your projects, your activities, and most recently, To-Do's been kind of used as that kind of one central location for tasks. So you can assign tasks from Planner into To Do, and actually Project for the Web in the future will allow you, in some cases I think it might be live, I'm not sure if it's live everywhere yet, but you can create a kind of project task in Project for the Web, which I'll come on to a bit in more detail later on, and it can appear in your To Do app on your phone. So it's starting to develop as this kind of one central view, but you can just download To Do on your phone. I've got it. I do my little To Do items, obviously, and my personal things are in there, but I can overlay that with my tasks as well from Teams and other tools. Planner, the next one along, that is good for group and collaborative planning. It's great if you're kind of in that agile Kanban board approach. I like it for that, and the drag and drop interface, multiple teams, group planning, particularly. I like Planner when you're in a workshop on Teams, like maybe sharing a screen, and you're able to kind of drag and drop and create a schedule yourself. It's quite interactive in that way. That's where I find Planner really useful. I think once you start getting over 50 tasks in Planner, I don't know about you, but my Planner board is just a mess. It just looks way too complicated. I can't really organize it in the way I want. I've got to fix to the Kanban or the list view. But there's a solution called Tasks in Planner. I think it's called Tasks in Planner. I'll confirm that later on. Yeah, it is a pain for managing a team. Maybe Planner might be good, but for me it has its limitations for delivering projects, and hell, you can't even deliver a program in there. I wouldn't even try. So yeah, but I'll come on to that in more detail later on. Project Desktop. So this is where it gets a bit interesting. So I ask customers who approach us and say, I want to discuss how do we deliver a project portfolio management solution. I'd ask them kind of what are you using now, and some people will say Project, Microsoft Project, and some people will say Project Online. I guess it doesn't help. Microsoft don't help us here in this clarification of what is each of those products. So let's just go through them one by one. All right. Project Desktop, and I call it Project Desktop just to clarify that it is a Microsoft Project Desktop with Professional. Technically is the word. It could be on 2019 or 2021. I think there's a new version of it as well. But that is the it looks quite old in its kind of usability, user interface, but it's a really powerful tool. I've been using it now for 15 odd years, and I still haven't touched, I guess, or scratched the surface of its capability. If you are delivering one project and it's a big project of work, you're not delivering, I guess, multiple projects, you're delivering one project, I just go and use that. Just buy it. I think it's £1,000. Just go and buy it, install it on your machine, and just go and build your 1,000-line schedules with your assignments, your resources. You could do status reports in Microsoft Project Desktop. You could build them, drag and drop the kind of interfaces like little pivot tables, add your resources in there, add all your costs in there. You can go mental on Project Desktop. But the moment you try and do 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 plus projects, you've just got a standalone file for every project. And some customers that come and talk to us have got SharePoint with folders in them with Microsoft Project files in the folders. And then they try and say, well, actually, I want to see all my level 1 tasks or my level 1 gates across the portfolio. What comes out? SharePoint or Excel. And they start linking these tasks together. One of the things I guess to be wary of, the more complex you make these schedules, I have been there myself. I've linked a task to their task and it's moved it out. You can do hard links, and you can really frustrate people by their tasks moving in their plan by the schedules that you're creating as well. So that's just one of the warning signs, I think, from my experience in Project Desktop, is you can get crazy and make a negative impact or have an impact on other people's schedules. But you can do lots of things in that. So it's a great tool. If you haven't used Microsoft Project Desktop before, go and get it. Go and have a look at it. I'll show you in more detail in a bit as well. The next step then is Project Online. So great for portfolio management, project prioritization. I referenced Betty St. Taylor's earlier with their prioritization kind of mechanism that is done in Project Online. It does do enterprise project management really well. And it does allow you to create all your artifacts and store all your data for your projects in one central location. And what it does is it allows you to take all the Project Desktop files and store them in a single repository that's based on the SharePoint architecture that allows you to effectively check in and check out a schedule and in Project Desktop and effectively publish that to Project Online. And then you're able to do lots of things with those tasks. it's brilliant. I love it. It's where I started off. It's when I found out about this solution, it changed my world, basically. It literally probably changed my life, actually, because Architect was born as a result of it. But it really did. It does take you on to the next level of enterprise resource and project portfolio management. So if you haven't used Project Online, I encourage you to do a bit of Google after this session. I'll show you a couple of screenshots of it in a second as well. And it's a great tool. So last but definitely not least is Project for the Web, the new kid on the block, as they say, right? So Project for the Web is like Planner, but just better. It's just so much better. It allows you to create project schedules, to add your fields into it, to integrate with other third-party solutions, and it's just game changing from Microsoft, really. The only challenge is it's quite new and it's following the evergreen development lifecycle with Microsoft. So you get, it's not so functionally rich as, say, for example, Project Online or Project Desktop, but there's a massive but, and that but is you're able to build use Power Platform around the outside of it. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. And once you see it, I think you'll go, okay, I get it. You can build your Project Online-esque enterprise portfolio management solution using Project for the Web as the planning engine, but then a Power App around the outside of that to capture all your risks, your issues, your lessons, your tasks, and do all your reporting in Power BI. So if you're thinking, Joel, you're mad, Project for the Web is pretty simple. I've been on there. It's pretty standard. Well, there's another bit to it that probably Microsoft, again, don't do us any favors in articulating its value. So Project for the Web is great for creating a schedule. So if you hit project.microsoft.com, you see Project for the Web. You can create a project. You can do some other cool things like upload a project desktop file into Project for the Web. So you can create a new project and you can do that, which is great. But it doesn't do things like baselining, for example. You can't baseline a project in Project for the Web yet, although there is a big roadmap and development activity coming. The last one, and I was doing this last night, and I tried to get some time in, but it was 11 o'clock last night. I thought I haven't got time to mess around with my great slide, is something called Project Operations. If you are charging your resources out and billing and doing financial tracking in your organization is an operational revenue generating department organization, like I guess Architect, we generate revenue from doing projects. Then Project Operations is the next step, which uses Project for the Web, but it's Dynamics 365-esque. Hey, it was 11 o'clock last night. If you want to know more about that, just let me know. I can take you through a demo. I think we've got a video on that on our YouTube channel as well. So yeah. All right. So Excel. If you're using Excel, just a quick slide per each of these, and we'll get on to the fun stuff of showing the example. There is actually a project planning template in Excel, which I found, which is really cool. And it allows you to put the start and end dates and these percentages. I'm pointing at my screen, typical. So let me just use my, so start and end dates here, and it creates this little time like Gantt chart for you. So it's an actual template in Excel, which is pretty cool. So everybody's got access to that. Again, I've just grabbed these off Google. You can create Gantt charts. You can go crazy. You can build your kind of gates and your phases in here using Excel, but we'll move on quickly. To do, this is the To Do app, so you can use it within Teams, you can use it on your phone, you can use it in the browser, and it's allowing you to create your kind of to-do items, and these to-do items can be created from other services like Planner and Teams as well. So yeah, and even I think Outlook, when you create a task in Outlook, it now creates a task in To Do as well, which is cool if you use it in that way. Planner, yeah, Planner is a little bit standard, a little bit kind of basic, but it is increasing in its development, its functionality, and just an example of where that's happening. Just remember this charts picture, and I think we've all seen this if you use Planner. That's now available in Project for the Web, and it wasn't 4 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago. So this is an example of where Microsoft are taking the good components from each of their kind of planning type solutions and delivering them into Project for the Web, which is slowly overtaking in functionality. All right, so Planner is this ability to create tasks, assign them to people, add notes, add checklist items. It's available on your phone and your tablet and your browser, as we all know. Okay. Project Professional. So again, this is the older version of Project, and interestingly, people often used to say to me, you can't manage an agile project in Project. And You can build sprints. It's a really powerful solution. You can build sprints using a Kanban board, and you can see here this little kind of screenshot. You can tick your resources that are applied onto the board. So, this is a planner-esque, but in Microsoft Project Desktop. So if you're using Microsoft Project Desktop and you've not seen that solution before, then you can go to the view and you can change it to a sprint planner view, which I have played with. I know it's sad, but I've done it. It's quite cool. So Project Online. This is, as I said, that SharePoint-based solution, which is where we started. In one of the very first project portfolio management solutions that I built for Babcock was in this technology. And actually, each of these records here is a project. And if you click that little icon there, you would open up the Microsoft Project desktop file, be able to interrogate and integrate, interact with that schedule and publish it back up into the Project Online environment. And you see this little screenshot here. See those tasks? They're actually built in Microsoft Project Desktop, but they're surfaced in the Project Online system. All right, but as you could tell, this has got kind of SharePoint-esque look and feel because it is based on Microsoft SharePoint. All right, these RAG statuses, these could be automated, and these percentage completes come from the plan itself. And then you can use things like portfolio prioritization and drivers to do some portfolio analysis. And that's what, again, I mentioned it a third time, BTG do that using this technology. But what I would say is that Project Online, most of our customers are not going there now because it is not on its way out, but it's not being developed. And the flexibility and the ease of configuration in the Power Platform just kind of supersedes it. There's some benefits to go to the Power Platform as opposed to Project Online. That's kind of Project Online. Cool. Project for the web. So this is the project for the web element, which is you're able to create your schedules, you're able to do your tasks, and you're able to create your little kind of using a Power App here. You're able to create charts and pivot tables and all those type of things, which is great. And I'll show you IGOplan, which is just more developed than this example here. But you can just go to project.microsoft.com, build a schedule, start interacting, and you'll see instantly it's better than Planner for people who are project practitioners and used to using something like Microsoft Project Desktop. But you'll also notice that you can't do things like baselining out of the box in it, which is just a sign of where it's in its infancy, and it is being developed, and baselining is on the roadmap for Microsoft, and which we see quite frequently and have dialogue with them about that. So and a lot of other things are on the roadmap, which I can't share, but are really, really cool in that space. So yeah, cool. Cost. All right, so it is complicated. I'll try and give you my opinion on it. Excel to do on Planner, you have to just buy Microsoft 365 and you get most of those services. Although I've just realized that Planner, I don't think you have to pay another license for Planner, but you must have to be on a minimum kind of business standard or E3 or E5 to get Planner included on a business level. All right. Project Desktop, and this is where most of our customers will go through a bit of a cost benefit analysis. Project Desktop actually used to be like £1,000 a year, which is mad. But if you move over to the Plan 3 license, it's actually £25 per user per month. So it's a lot less than 1,150 quid. But a lot of people who approach us still have maybe 100 licenses on £1,000 a year, which is madness. Particularly when you've built a schedule and you want to share that schedule with somebody else, they have to have a license in order to see the schedule. And then what I end up seeing is people are PDFing the schedule and sending the PDF to somebody so they don't have to pay for a license. So, which is understandable when the license is that much. So yeah, but you can move over to Project Plan 3 in the Office 365 admin portal, which will give you Microsoft Project Desktop. That's the kind of license you need. It's Plan 3. Project Online, there's 3 different licenses. So it's Plan 1, Plan 3, and Plan 5. Plan 5 is about £48 a month. Again, all these costs are different in public sector, private sector, depending on whether you're enterprise account, etc. But that's for a portfolio manager. So maybe most of our customers will have 5 or 10 of these types of licenses. Somebody who's seeing everything and able to make administrative changes to the system will be on Plan 5, and they also get Project Desktop included in that, by the way. then most of the project managers will be on plan 3, which is using Project Desktop. But you can have team members, and you can modify. I say 3 months ago, you used to be able to modify the schedule using the web GUI that I showed you earlier with the tasks in it in Project Online, and you could modify the tasks in there without using or being able to download it into Microsoft Project Desktop, and that's £7.50 a month. So you can see if you're just a team member and you're buying a license for £1,000 or £1,150 a year just to consume a Microsoft Project Desktop file, you can see the price and the business case there that's kind of forming depending on your specific circumstance from using Project Online. Even better, Project for the Web, Plan 1. You just need Plan 1, and you get a certain number of entities available with the Power Platform as well with that. So you don't have to go and buy a Power Platform license as well. But even so, Power Platform is for public sector now is pretty cost neutral and negligible really for the value it brings you, I guess, as a result of using it. Any questions? I've just been waffling for 31 minutes. I hope any questions? If you've got any questions, put them in the meeting chat. Happy to answer any questions on anything I've shown you so far. But without further ado, we'll get to the juicy stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you Project for the Web, but just to set the context, I'm going to show you IcoPlan, which is our, I guess, accelerator for a PPM solution in 365. I think it's just, we've done this before where I've shown all the different kind of options and demoed them all. To be honest, I think it's just a bit boring. If you've got a question specifically on anything that like Planner or even Project Online, let me know in the meeting chat. I can always go over there quickly and just bring up a demo environment for you to show you that. But I'm just going to show you the kind of the Project for the Web element and how it's used within the Power Platform. Okay, so I'm going to go quickly to the Project for the Web element just because I want to get there and I guess bring it to life, explain it in a bit more detail. So I'm going to go into Project Vulkan, and so it's in a sandbox environment, so it's not the quickest of environments, right? In a live environment, it's a lot quicker than this, of course. Here we go. So you can see that infamous Project P logo loading up here. So this is Project for the Web. This whole window is Project for the Web. Your project landing page. All right, and you can see all your projects. You can show more. You can even go to Project Online, which is that older solution, as I said earlier on, and you can create a new project, a new blank project, a roadmap. And as I said earlier on, you can import from Project Desktop as well. There are a few limitations. I'm not sure of the specifics, but I have heard in our dev team sometimes they try to upload these schedules, and I think it's something to do with calendars. So test it with a simple schedule first. And that's how you can build all your projects into your project home effectively. And you can see it's kind of showing you that it's in this Power Platform architecture and enables you to do more things with it. All right. And one of the things you're able to do with it is use the Power Platform and some configuration to plug in effectively. I don't use the word plug in because people think a plug is bad, but you're plugging in the schedule for Project Vulkan into the Power App. I hope that makes sense. So you're able in here then to go and to create your schedules and to create your tasks. So what are we in now? July demo. So July demo, you're able to create your tasks. You're able to assign them to people in the organization. So you can see this is my organization structure here. Chris currently isn't in the project team. He's in the global address list in 365, of course, but he's not in this Project Vulkan's team. So I'm going to add him into this now. I'm going to put my 5 days and see how it's just a bit easier to do your 5D versus your 5 minutes. 5 years. I think you could do years. Could do years? Oh, maybe you can't do years. That's interesting. Nope. Oh, what am I going to do years? No, it doesn't like that. So, but 5, and you can do 5 months as well. All right. So you can just do your little tasks here, and you can put your 50% completes. And you could do your dependencies. So you didn't used to be able to do dependencies, but you can do it on, I normally start with the task number. So the task number here, or task ID, so 20 workshop sign off is I'm dependent on. You can build your own drop down. So this is just a simple choice drop down. And if you look on our YouTube channel, there's more in-depth kind of show and tells of how to do this. You can do your effort. So it's 800 hours versus 400 hours and days and so on and so forth. this is me just adding an example columns earlier. Buckets. So this is the planner stuff to kind of reference or recognize buckets from planner. But this is the board bucket 1 analysis workshop. You can go crazy now with these colors if you really want to get super cool changing these colors. And you can drag. So there's the July demo task I just created 20 seconds ago. I'm now going to drag it over to the workshop bucket. Fingers crossed, when I go back to the grid now, that task all the way down here should be in the workshop bucket, which it is. So you're able to kind of build your schedule in an interactive way using Project for the Web. Simple things like, is it IT? Yes or no? These are just simple drop downs I've built in. Again, 6 months ago, these features weren't here. So you're able to do a lot more with this now, adding labels. You can do your add your own labels in here. You can do your new fields, and you can add text fields. So you can put in some sort of narrative or text against each task. You can add in date fields, number fields, yes, no's, and choices. So I'll do another choice just because I think it's cool. So a tech team, was it a HR task, right? HR task, HR related. Bit of a bad example. I should have that one. But you could either go yes, no, not sure. Let's add another choice. Not applicable. Again, you can go crazy with these color coding these things. So yes, no, click this little bucket, and you guys could go onto project.microsoft.com and do all this. So this is nothing that we've built. This is just the kind of the technology and how it's being used now. NA, gray, get rid of it. Cool. I did press that. HR related. Had a panic attack then. I thought it wasn't going to show up. So you're able to see the kind of the color coding conditional formatting that's available here. So yes, this is HR related. Not sure for that task, and so on and so forth. So you can start to build quite useful project schedules in Project for the Web now, which is pretty cool. Effort, you could do effort remaining, effort completed, and you could do all sorts of other kind of more detailed task management activities. You can add your labels or your tags just like you can in Planner. So if you've got like a tag for TDA or whatever it might be, you can add your notes. You can even add your checklist items, although I get a bit confused with checklist items because you end up having tasks with checklist items and then it starts to get a bit confusing. So yeah, you can start doing that. Effort completed. On all those fields that you create in that view are all visible in here as well. So I've got my HR related field I just created earlier, and my dependencies. You can add dependencies and attachments to each individual task. So really, it's quite a comprehensive schedule building solution in 365. In my opinion, it's pretty pretty good for doing that. So all our projects now in Icotech are managed using Project for the Web as a planning component, and we really like using it, which is great. I'll go back to boards quickly. You can create buckets here. So this is HR bucket, and you can add your tasks from here as well. So this is HR consultation. All right, so you're going to go, finish date is Friday, and I'm going to assign it to myself. I need to go and do this. All right, here we go. Add the tasks. I can add my dependencies, my attachments, and this one is HR related. Yes, it is, obviously. Cool. So, but if I go back to my grid now, the HR task consultation is there as a task in the system. Timeline. So you can come out here, you can zoom out, and you can see the timeline. You can interact with the kind of tasks here, and you can move them along. I'm not a fan of it, if I'm honest. I don't plan like this. My brain is I like lists and dependencies and tasks and resources, but you can do it in here if you want to get more graphical. If you're trying to manage or build a schedule, like imagine managing or building a schedule with a group of people on Teams on a workshop, working through how you're going to do the infrastructure upgrade or whatever. You can drag and drop these things, create these dependencies between each other, which so you can do all this kind of dependency mapping, which is pretty cool. So I said earlier, remember that chart picture? This is the chart. This is, again, 4 weeks old now, but this is pretty cool. Effort per person. You can see I've got all the effort typically in this environment. Chris has got, second amount of effort, and so on and so forth. Shantine, Toby, Craig. I have no idea what Matthew's doing over here, but bless him. 22 tasks left. So 7 are late, 14 are not started, and 1 is in progress. who's doing what, me to get that going in this example. And you can see the buckets I created earlier. So the buckets automatically pull through to this chart, just like in Planner. You can see what tasks are assigned to what bucket, which at project by project level, just to have that out of the box is really cool. So that's project for the web. And just to answer kind of, I guess, some of those challenges I raised earlier, the project portfolio management solution we've built, which is IcoPlan, which is around the outside of that, is really utilizing the benefit and the power of the project for the web element. But what we're able to do, and as you can see here, is create a list of our projects all in one place, single source of the truth, all those project schedules. There's no publishing, there's no checking in, checking out, all that palaver. It's just all in one place. One of the things I referenced earlier was how do I see all the tasks across my organization? How do I see all the activity across my organization? So you've got, programs, portfolios, and projects. In some other customers, you've got change or minor change that comes underneath here, which have schedules. And they're just different categories of different types of projects. But the great thing is that every single schedule, every single task, see that HR consultation task there? That's the one I created earlier in that project. So if I'm a portfolio manager, I just want to see all the open tasks across the portfolio. Every single project with every single task is in this data set here. So there's 40 tasks that are assigned to me. So I'm able to create views and configure views. These are Toby's tasks. Bless him, he's got 33 of them. And I'm able to go and edit the columns to say, okay, so that's brilliant. I've got these tasks, but what project are they from? What project do these relate to? So I go in here, hit the project, close that filter, hit apply, and it's going to show me, hopefully, what project each of these tasks relate to. No reporting, no OData feed, no summing in Excel, no kind of linking. It's just there. It just works. You're able to apply filters to these as well, which is I gotta stop saying really cool. Sorry, but it's owner is Toby in this case, and the due date might be before or this month or next year or last year or whatever, this year. Let's do that. I think hopefully it'll bring up a few records. Here we go. So we've got 33 of those tasks. The due date is this year. All right. Some other things you could do just using this technology is export to Excel. Shock horror, I know we will still use Excel in some way, but sometimes you want to take it out, do a pivot table. But one of the great things you could do is you can have it as a dynamic worksheet. So now that'll export that view into Excel, and it creates a data link between the two data sets. So if you store the Excel file on SharePoint, create a pivot table from it to say how many tasks for 3 projects, for example, for the sponsor of those projects, in a pivot table, you can hit the data refresh in Excel, and it just pulls the latest data from the data set here, all in one place. All right, so that's really cool. You can do some importing as well, so on and so forth. So I'm going to go back to projects. We talked about lifecycle management and how it would be great to control projects going through stages. Here is our lifecycle, so it's like a gate checklist. In this example, it's quite simple for now, but has the business case been signed off, has the scope been defined? These are human kind of selected at the moment, but we can configure this to be automatic. So, it's one of our customers, we've got a PID that actually is created using the data in the system. So it exports to Word, the PID, sends it off using Power Automate to the stakeholders. They all approve it. Once it's approved, it automatically says yes in here and allows the project to move through to the next stage. So it gives you that governance and that control of taking the project through a series of stages. So the other thing as well, which I think is really useful, is the ability to switch stages. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to work now, as I've not really done this before, but you can move from an agile to a waterfall to an agile stage. And it's the same, for example, if you had minor work. So maybe a minor works project only goes through 3 stages, whereas the kind of channel C or level 3 more complex project will go through 8 stages and have more governance applied to it. So you're able to switch the stage or even define the stage at the start of the project when it's created as well. So Legal and General have like this little process where you answer a few questions, and then it defines then based on the answers to those questions which channel of change it goes down, and therefore creates the project with the right life cycle in it. So it says, what's the cost of it? The cost is 40 grand. How many teams are you going to be using? Well, 2. So it's being led by, it's not an IT project, so it's a business change project, and therefore it automatically creates the project in with that set stage. I talked about risks and issues and adding risks across the organization, and not seeing those risks. I gave the example of Excel being used. So we take an Excel spreadsheet and we can digitize it effectively. This is a simple kind of risk, I guess, form. So this is the July heat wave. Yeah, whatever. I was going to try and think of something funny. Not very funny. So yeah, so this is an active risk. The category is environmental. There's kind of no change at the moment. I'm just kind of logging it. Again, you'll see from this in your experience with your risks how kind of useful this could be once you've got all the risks in the system. It's a simple 5x5 model in this example, but we have some crazy examples of much more complex and useful risk management solutions, I guess, or risk management approaches. So this is a low impact, high likelihood. We'll all just get tired. What can we do? We just have to accept the risk, aren't we? We can't change the heat. Oh, maybe we could, if you want to be really, we could avoid it or buy a fan. But here we go. So we're going to save this now. I bet my team are sitting there with their head in hand thinking, why is he going on this path? So it's an amber risk, right? It's 2 by 4, so it's 8 overall, and in our kind of parameter, that's amber. Again, what we could do in the future, and many of our customers are using this technology now to automatically apply RAGs to a project. So, and therefore, it's no longer the human saying, I'm red, amber, green, because I think I am. It's actually put all the data in your system, and then the system will tell you whether you're red, amber, or green. And for those of you who are sitting there thinking, well, I need a little bit of, I guess, subjective, kind of ability to voice my concern, or actually the system says I'm red, but it's not always right. Well, in one of our cases, we've got a customer's got like the formulaic RAGs, and then they've got the kind of subjective RAG on the top as well. So it says, okay, the project system says I'm actually red, but I think I'm green, and this is why. And you're able to compare and contrast those two things as well. So I talked earlier as well in my example about actions. So this is a risk, and this has a mitigating action against the risk. So I'm able to say, okay, so I'm going to go and buy a fan. I'm going to have to keep going, aren't I? I've gone too far. So this is Project Vulcan. This is a risk. It's linked to that risk here. Buy a fan to avoid the heat impact if not closed. I'm not going to keep going with that. Joel, I make myself laugh. It's really bad. There we go. So Joel, this is my action to go and do. Cool. So I'm going to save that now. Obviously, you can see, in a project or portfolio with 25 projects, having every single risk in the system with associated actions, even to be able to apply notes to the activity. So it's like a little mini CRM, be able to apply notes of status, etc. And seeing all those across a single view of risks is really useful, really powerful. So there's my July heatwave risk I've just added. And yeah, so I can see every single risk across the portfolio in this view and start doing the same as I did earlier, seeing, I guess, filtering, adding columns, etc. The other example I gave earlier was status, or the project status. We have built this to allow you to add a status as an individual record. So you can see I was doing some stuff last week, but I'll do another one, for example, here. So we talk about Project for the Web being quite basic in its componentry, but being plugged into the Power Platform and utilizing this technology, you can see how useful Project for the Web and the Power Platform can become now to build an enterprise-wide resource management solution, hopefully. I'm just going to put some random stuff in here. This is the ability to select the RAG. So this is, I guess, a subjective, my opinion, view on the RAG here, right? So it's an overall RAG. I'm amber, green, red, and green. Yes, I'm green, red, green. For time, I'm green. For cost, I'm red. For quality, I'm green. But overall, that means I'm amber, in my opinion. You can see it's all through up here. This is now a status report, but I can add more narrative. You can change the columns or the fields, but root to green, by the fan. whatever it might be. So I'm going to save and close this now. The great thing is here, you can see the status of the project over time. So you can see here, that's my reporting date today on Wednesday. Next Wednesday, you could even automatically say that it creates a status report for you every Wednesday, sends it to the project manager to fill out via email, and then it stores in the system. So you can see the trend of the project. There's no trend in this one, unfortunately, because it's just random different people doing different. But if you were in a live environment, operating environment, you could see the trend of these over time. All right, I'm just going to go and refresh this because there we go. So I've got kind of 2 greens, 1 red, and it's amber overall. You can see that being pulled through here. The great thing is, again, seeing all the status reports in one place. So that's my status report I've just created. You can then go, okay, so I want to see all the status reports and I want to see them for the project. I need to know the project name. So I'm going to apply this into here, and Project Vulcan should appear here. There's the status report for Project Vulcan. I can apply some filters to say, actually give me Project Vulcan. Here we go. These are all the status reports from Project Vulcan. So you're seeing the same data, I guess, in different places, and you can see all the other artifacts that we've got here for each project. All right, so and you can see the decisions, changes, the benefits, all these things are buried in Excel spreadsheets in most of kind of use cases or in different systems, and it's really hard to go and see them and actually make use of them. We've got a little bit on finances, keeping the track of the projects. We've got the ability to add project budgets, but it does just get a bit specific. I guess each customer operates totally different in this space. So we haven't tried to build this out with too much intelligence at this point, because every one of you will do finances different or want to do finances differently. And the whole point of this is just a startup for 10, an accelerator. You get it in a couple of days, and it's just you should start using it, and then you can start developing it and bonifying and building it over time. If I just go up a level, then you can have programs. So as a project program portfolio practitioner, we just get the logical kind of hierarchy of projects feed into programs and programs feed into portfolios. So this is just the simplistic way of us saying, well, this program has the related projects to projects, and these are the RAG statuses of that project. So no longer are you creating a status report or an Excel document or a PDF, PowerPoint slide to say what's the RAG of that project. You don't even need Power BI, really. You just come in here and go, well, I'm the program manager, the customer platform and application program. What's the status of my projects today? Cool, both my projects are green. Brilliant. What's my risks across the program? Okay, I've got no risks that have been escalated and no program risk. And that's a really bad example. I should use the right example in the future. But again, I've got nothing's been escalated to me, and I've got no program related risks at all. And you can come into the notes and see that people have started to comment on the program or whatever it might be. The status report. So this is the status report of the program, similar concept to earlier. And you can, we want to put this in here, you can start building work packages and so on and so forth. So and the last thing is portfolios. I say last thing, portfolio. Got really simple with this, but same logic again. This is the portfolio, the IT portfolio. These are the programs that are related to the portfolio. We have another customer that's got projects here. So actually the portfolio team go to portfolios and see the whole list of programs and projects in the IT portfolio. And again, you can go crazy and add actions, issues, risks, dependencies, benefits, all these things on this side you could do in here. Resource management, there are resources in here. I won't show that now. There's a number of videos on our YouTube channel, so if you want to go over to YouTube, just YouTube Icotech, just if you want to subscribe to that, follow us on there, and you can see all the kind of more detailed demonstrations that come out on there, and of me walking through them. One of them's actually got over 5,000 views, which I can't believe. There's 5,000 views of somebody watching me. Bless them. So yeah, this is the request system, and this is the ability to request a project and then do that little bit of portfolio prioritization. This is a very simple model for prioritization. This is just at the start of a 10. You could answer these questions and it will give a numerical score. Again, every customer does this differently, and the whole point is that we're able to go and design this based on your organizational needs as well. This is quite standard. As I say, some of our customers will have their strategic priorities as a separate section up here, and then you're actually answering questions or rating against individual priorities. and can make a much more useful prioritization score. And then subject to you approving it in your, I guess, demand meeting, or your, I think we used to call them BGRs in Welsh Water, business generated requests. So yeah, we'd have a BGRI every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, where we'd look through all the business generated requests and then review them and say, is this a project? Is this not a project? Is this minor works? So on and so forth. Then actually you can create the project from here, and it'll create it into the relevant project portfolio. All right. This is the Word template. So this is just the ability to download the template, upload a template, so you actually export this page into a Word file, which is also pretty good solution. I hope you're also there and still listening, and I hope you found it useful. With 4 minutes left, have you got any questions? If you wanted to raise your hand, I could come to you and mute you. If you've got any questions on the technology, that'd be much appreciated. If you did have some, happy to answer any that you had. Even if you want to put them in the meeting chat, any thoughts or any questions specifically, be happy to answer any of them as I quickly scroll through to make sure I've covered stuff. So Microsoft Projects, so just shown Microsoft Project in an outline. If you wanted to know more about Microsoft Projects specifically, then let me know. I can just jump on a Teams call with you and show you Microsoft Project and how it can work and help. But as I said, I think Project Online or project for the web is pretty useful. Resourcing, thank you for your question. Yes, there is ability to do resource leveling or on the fly. I will show you quickly. This does need configuration because it's not kind of out of the box, but I'll just show you kind of how it can do it in the kind of view we would use. It's called a scheduling board. And thank you for the question, it's really much appreciated. But you can do timesheeting, bookings, invoicing, the whole 9 yards you could do in this technology. But when we do that with our customers, we're doing it kind of a ground up, we're configuring it to meet the customer's needs, because the way in which you want to do resourcing is probably totally different to anybody else's. So yeah, this is taking a long time, and I can see my face freezing as well. So whilst that loads, can we export the plan and send to clients? Yes, I believe, yes, you can. Cool, so this is the schedule view. But yes, so this is the schedule board. So you're able to build a schedule. See this demand here, this is coming from a project resource, and you're able to click on this, and then it will show you, once it's configured, what project managers are available for what day over the resource availability. So yeah, and you can do some filtering. You can even do some great stuff like competency-based resourcing. So I need a resource that's maybe a business analyst, but actually has experience in Power Platform or SharePoint or Power BI. And therefore, when you're requesting that resource demand, you're requesting the skill or competency of that resource, not just the role they fulfill. Sorry. So you can do some quite intrinsic resource scheduling, which is great. And exporting and sending to clients is another kind of requirement we get quite a lot. And so you're able to kind of share this information externally using a portal, which is quite cool. But you're also, I believe he says, as he gets here frantically, you can. Am I going to put my name online? Can you export it? I believe you can. Bear with me a minute as it loads. I think you can export to Excel. Yeah, there's no what he's talking about. You can export to Excel. So here we go. It's the export to Excel button. You could, and that whole task list will come out into Excel and send to clients. Likewise, if you had that requirement, we could build a view in Excel, in the task list, and you'd be able to export to Excel here and share to clients as well. Alternatively, you can use Power BI. I haven't even touched on that today, but that is really cool. And again, if you like to see the portfolio reporting that comes out of this technology, then you can jump on our YouTube channel, and there's a number of different kind of Power BI in portfolio management kind of videos on there as well. So 5 o'clock. I know you guys probably have a 5 o'clock meeting. Very busy afternoons. Thank you for attending. I think the presentation, we could share that, absolutely we could share that later on. There's if you've got any questions, just drop me an email, joel.markham@architectservices.co.uk, or info@architectservices.co.uk. Any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them at a later date. I'm glad you found it useful. Hopefully I've shown you, I guess, some new things that are available in the Microsoft 365 technology stack for delivering projects. fingers crossed. So yeah, thanks for your time this afternoon. It was much appreciated. Thanks for joining, and yeah, look forward to seeing you on the next one. And as I said, contact us if you have any further questions. Cheers now. Thank you.